I felt a pressure I had known before, but could not yet name again. Not arrival. Not creation. Something outlined in memory, not sight. This presence did not arrive. It resumed. I had felt this shape before, not as a place, but as a possibility.
Welcome back, or welcome in. This is episode 2 of BasilBorne. Episode 1 was about opening the world up and breaking through the ceiling so we could start thinking long term. Today's episode is slower. We're looking at the village, the land around it, and a few things that feel like they were waiting to be found. Just a quick note before we continue, the way I'm playing BasilBorne isn't like a usual SMP playthrough. I'm treating it more like a lore-driven story, and episode 1 sets up the world and the characters. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend starting there. Alright, let's keep going.
Before there was reason to hurry. Before roads learned direction. Before stone imagined walls. I remember a place that did not hurry. It did not rise to meet the future. It let the future come to it. This was a village shaped by repetition. Not ambition. Not fear. Wheat grew season after season, not because it was efficient, but because it was dependable. Hands returned to the same motions. Tools wore smooth. Paths formed where no one meant to build them. Carrot grew where wheat already stood. A small patch broke the sameness of the fields. Enough to survive. Enough to remember. Many places seek to last. This one already did. Villages like this are rarely named. That is why they endure long enough to be built upon. One house stood higher than the rest, not in dominance, but in watchfulness. It did not overlook the village. It remembered it. Knowledge gathered there quietly, not in great volumes, but in fragments that endured. Pages turned without ceremony. Words were traded the same way grain was traded. Slowly, deliberately, and without urgency. Emeralds changed hands long before anyone understood what they would one day sustain. They were not wealth yet, only tokens of trust. The keeper did not know what he guarded. He only knew that people returned, that questions were asked, and that answers were worth waiting for. Long before stone would be shaped with intent, this place learned how to hold knowledge without trying to use it. When the land finally asked more of its people, it would remember that this was where memory was kept. Even then, there was restraint. Not hesitation. Not doubt. Restraint. The choice to leave things unfinished when they could have been pushed further. The choice to walk past empty space without filling it immediately. Not every place is meant to grow at once. Some must remain small, so they can hold the weight of what will come later. Expansion was possible here. Stone was close. Land was open. But possibility alone is not reason. This place was not ready to be more than it was. And the hand that moved through it understood that difference. This was not the city. It was the before. A moment held deliberately so it could be remembered when larger shapes began to form. Long before stone would gather into purpose, this place learned the value of waiting. Beneath the fields, beneath the paths worn smooth by habit, the land loosened its grip. Stone did not resist. It yielded. Not from weakness, but from familiarity. This ground had been walked for a long time before it was ever opened. When the surface learned routine, the depths answered with exposure. Wood rotted into tunnels, shaped by hands that no longer returned. Supports leaned where certainty once stood. Rails stretched onward, remembering destinations no one still intended to reach. This was not construction. It was inheritance. The remains of effort offered without explanation. Before the land was carved with intent. Before purpose learned precision. It opened itself by accident and waited to see what kind of hand would follow. Deeper still, the land began to repeat itself. Corridors narrowed, then widened again, as if retracing old decisions. Stone pressed closer here, not to block the way, but to observe it. I felt the pattern before it was visible. Places like this do not form by accident alone. They gather. They wait. Wood and web mingled in silence. Not decay, a preparation. The air grew dense, carrying the memory of movement that had not yet returned. Then the first place revealed itself. Teeth waiting without hunger. Threads held without weaving. Enough to be noticed. Enough to be remembered. But not alone. A second followed, close enough to answer the first. This was not generosity. It was confirmation. There were places where time folded twice. Where preparation had outpaced intention. Some things are not meant to be used immediately. They are meant to be recognized, so they can be returned to when the weight above them grows heavier. I remembered this place the moment it revealed itself. There are depths that do not announce themselves. They wait for footsteps. They measure patience. And they remember who descends. The path downward was not hidden. It was deliberate. Step after step. Carved not for beauty, but for persistence. This was not wandering. It was commitment. Corridors narrowed. Branches opened. Each turn examined. Each wall tested, as if the land were waiting for the right line to be struck. Not every depth responds to effort. Some respond to repetition. And then it was there. Not hidden. Not unfinished. Simply waiting. This place did not offer itself. It stood. Sealed. Complete long before it was found. It did not call out. It did not threaten. It simply waited to see whether the descent would continue. I will not speak yet of what it demanded. Only that it was not meant for hands that rushed the early days. Some doors open because they are discovered. Others open because the world decides you have gone far enough. The village above endured in its repetition. Below, the depths remained as they always had. Patient. Unclaimed. Unfinished. Nothing here was new. Only newly uncovered. This land has felt footsteps before. It does not startle easily. The early days are not loud. They are the days when the world listens.